I just wanted to say that maybe you want all your pictures to be black and white before you make them a contact sheet, or maybe you want to apply something to every single photo before you make it a contact sheet. So I wanted to show you this shortcut, and they're called actions. Okay, so when I have Photoshop open, I can go to, let me open, I'm going to close my contact sheets. Don't save, I don't need these. I'm going to file open just one picture. So here's those pictures that I was using for my example. So I could go to Window and Actions, okay? And Photoshop has some default actions in here, but you could actually record your own action as well, okay? So I'm gonna look at the one that says take an RGB image and make it grayscale. And notice that it makes all these steps and it will apply all those things, okay? So if I select this action, change an RGB image, RGB, to grayscale, and hit play, it's going to make that image black and white, and it will show you the channel mixer, so you can play around with the RGB of each tone. So make it brighter or darker depending on what you want, and you can play around with your constant, so you can just see what that looks like. Zero is fine. 0 is fine. And I'm going to say, okay. Okay, so that made it a black and white image. What if I wanted to do this to an entire folder of images to save myself time instead of file opening every single one to do that? That's called a batch action. So what I'm going to do is go to File, Automate, Batch, saying I want to batch action this entire folder. What action do I want to take? So remember I just talked about that custom RGB to grayscale. Source folder. So which pictures do I want to use? So I want to use this. I made a copy of my files just in case. And these are all my colored ones, and say choose. So this is the ones that I want it to do this for. You can override some, suppress some file open, profile warnings, all this stuff if you want to. So then I'm going to pick a destination folder. Where do I want to save this to? So I'm going to choose a folder. I'm going to go to the desktop and make a new folder called black and white fairy tale. Yours would be black and white BB. Black and white fairy tales or variations. I'm going to pick that I want it to end there. You could also say, like, I wanted to have the date on each one. I wanted to name it 1, 2, 3, 4, blah, blah, blah. So you can also include that stuff as well. So I'm going to hit OK, and basically it's opening every single picture. Now, unfortunately, because it's asking you, you know, do you want to change the sliders for each picture? You could do that. And then you're going to have to say OK for all 28 pictures. I'm not going to go through each one and do that, but it is basically doing all those steps to every single one, and it's just asking you, are you sure you want to use these settings? Are you sure you want it to be maximum JPEG? And that one was already black and white, so it's not letting me. So some of them you won't have to do the okays, depending on what the action is, or if you're recording action, it will just do it, and it will all be in that folder. So I have to do this 28 times. So basically I'm skipping the step where you might want to look at each one individually. You can fast forward this part to the end. So a few clicks, but you at least don't have to open it and apply every single one. Okay, so let's look at that folder, black and white fairy tales. And there is my 28 pictures. So notice that I put that I want it to be called fairy tales, the date, and then it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it named them as well. You can also rename everything in a folder by just selecting everything, right-clicking, and say rename. And you could say what kind of format I want to. I usually do the name and the date and start at. So I've named this fairy tales, and I can hit rename, and then it renamed every single picture So now it has, oh, it opened every single one. But yeah, there you go. I renamed it with the date and everything like that. Okay, so now you can take this folder of images and you can make it a contact sheet if you want a black and white one.